Last time we looked at a CFG chord progression while writing the start, the verse and the intro of a song. It's 1-4-5 progression in the key of C major. And this time, this video, I'm going to look at the lyrics. So I've written some lyrics down already. Now, approaching lyrics is, there's multiple different ways you can do this. You can either pick a subject and try and write about a subject, try and write about a story, something maybe that's personal to you, or you can try and sort of write something that's a little bit more figurative or abstract. There's loads of good songs where lyrics have been approached in that way, so loads of the Beatles songs are like that. I'm thinking like A Day in the Life, where the lyrics sound really suggestive and they sound really meaningful, but they're not quite, they don't really have any meaning to them. If you sort of wrote them down as a poem on a piece of paper and looked at them, you'd sort of get sort of suggestion from the lyrics, but they're not actually about a specific subject. It just sort of fires your imagination when you listen to the song. And John Lennon was really good at writing those kinds of songs. And Paul McCartney was as well, of course. But so what I've tried to do, I've sort of gone down that road a little bit, and I've approached it. What I've done, I've written a verse and a bridge, and then the start of a chorus. But really, what I want to show you is the approach of writing a full song. So there are different ways of doing it. You can completely write the music first. You can write the lyrics first and then fit the music around the lyrics. You can write a top line melody and then try and fit the music around that. So there's loads of different ways of doing it. So the approach I'm going to take, I'm going to write a bit of the verse, the music first, and then last time I added the A minor in, which is going to be like a bridge section, I think, to go from the basic verse, bit of a bridge, and then into the chorus. So I've written the main verse in C, F and G, and I'm going to use the G as as a turnaround. So that's the way the progression works really in a 1-4-5. The 5 chord sets up like a suspenseful sort of sense that you're going to go back to the original chord of the key, which is C. So the chorus, I've used the relative minor, which is A minor. So here's what I've got so far. I had this idea of someone writing a letter to someone else. And again, there's no definite story behind it, but it just kind of implies that, and it makes the song kind of interesting. But anyway, I'll play you what I've done so far. Letter to you. How does it feel to be someone like you? You lived your life through a lens, could never make amends, you couldn't pretend to take what nothing's happening around here anymore. Same old empty streets on the other side of the door. There's no more time for me, there's no more time for you. To take what I said. Okay, so that's as far as I've got at the moment. So the second verse, I don't know what I'm going to do for it yet, but I'm looking at what the implications are of the first verse. And there's a line in there that says, you lived your life through a lens. And I think that sort of implies that the person the song's being sung to is maybe famous, or they're a celebrity or something like that. So maybe I'll kind of research that, maybe look through magazines or blogs, and try and find interesting lines that I can lift out and then use as part of the melody or find a hook. So the chorus was an interesting one. The chorus goes, "Nothing's happening around here anymore. Same old empty streets on the other side of the door." So I guess there's like kind of a lockdown theme in there. So I was using that just to sort of make it a bit more interesting and also take the story of the song to a different place. And then it says, "There's no more time for me and too much time for you." So it's implying that that person has no more time for the person who's written them the letter. And then they've got too much time to mull over what that person said in the letter. And they can't really take what they've said. So maybe the letter was quite a negative thing and it's led to a breakup or something like that. But the song itself, even though it's in a major key, is quite downbeat, I think. But I kind of like that contrast. I mean, a lot of bands do that. Elbow are really good at doing that. Badly Drawn Boy as well. You sort of have these quite happy bits of music, but at a slower tempo. And the lyrics are often quite, I won't say morose, but quite downbeat and sad. And I think it's quite melancholy. And I think that gives it quite a nice contrast in the song, and it just makes the song interesting. So I'm going to write a second verse. Don't know what that's going to be yet. We'll take that into the chorus. I could change the lyrics for the second chorus just to add a bit of variety, but I don't know what I'm going to do again there. So the basic structure of the song in my head at the moment, it's going to be intro, a couple of chords, then it's going to be verse, bridge, chorus. And it's going to go back into a verse, bridge, chorus. Then I'm thinking middle eight or something like that, some kind of end section which adds variety again. So we could look at the key of C, find chords on the chart that could then bring in a different theme just to make it interesting, because middle eights are quite interesting. You want to tie them to the original chord pattern in some way, or the original feel of the song in some way, but you want to add like a different kind of angle to it just to make the song interesting. So I mean, there's all sorts of things you can do in middle eights. You can do key changes, you could do anything, but it has to kind of resolve back into the chorus. I mean, it doesn't have to do that, but generally speaking, as a rule, if you're writing a kind of a pop song or a popular tune that maybe you're going to play down at an open mic or something, I think it's better that the song structure is at least familiar, because I think people connect with that. And you can write other songs that are very experimental or whatever, but I think it's always good to have a few songs that are structured in a certain way. So yeah, just to repeat that so you get the idea of the structure in your head, it's intro, verse, bridge, chorus, second verse, bridge, chorus, middle eight, chorus, and then finish. So okay guys, so please hit like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing a series of videos to hopefully take you from maybe writing your first song, or maybe you're someone who's quite new to songwriting, so hopefully you can pick up what I'm doing here and it'll just give you some ideas. I mean, this song I'm writing here, it's probably not going to win any awards, but it's going to be a decent song. Just applying a few principles that you can then add to your own writing, and it just gives you a platform, because I think it's very easy to sort of start writing songs and not really understand what you're doing. So it's difficult to progress if you've got no reference points, and keys are a really good reference point. And I think if you understand the way that basic keys work, it just gives you a good sort of foundation for songwriting. And I think once you understand that standard keys, they sometimes kind of lack movement, and what I mean by that, they can lack interest because they're quite standard really. So if you look at a songwriter like Paul McCartney again, or John Lennon, or David Bowie, or Noel Gallagher, or whoever it might be, what they tend to do is they're clearly songwriters that understand the basic fundamentals of the way music and keys work, and they break those rules and they introduce modal themes into the writing. So that's where you get really nice hooks from. I'll do some more videos about that, and maybe we could look at some songs from popular artists and say in a technical sense why they work so well, and they create these hooks and kind of musical moments that really drag people in and capture people's attention. So yeah, a lot of the time they're breaking the rules and just trying to find something interesting and new. That it just works, you know. A band like U2, quite interestingly, they, not all the time, but they tend to be quite. They use a lot of C, F, and G, a lot of 1-4-5, but they do it with incredible effects. And I think like the Edge is playing with all the effects and kind of that atmospheric build that they create. They're probably the exception to the rule, I'm guessing, from that point of view. But like I say, they also write tunes with modal elements in them as well, of course. But yeah, Lennon and McCartney, those brilliant, almost jazz infused like early Beatles tunes that were so sort of catchy. And Oasis as well. I mean, like the 90s, they sort of changed band music. They made band music much more popular again, because of great melodies. And I think there's certain principles that if you put them into play in your songwriting, you start to make things more interesting. And you know, songwriting is not all about music and top line, of course. It is about lyrics. There's a huge lyrical element in there, but the lyrical element ties in, of course, with the top line and with the melody and with the foundations of the song itself. So anyway, I hope you found this video interesting. Please hit like and subscribe, and hit the bell icon too. Yeah, and I'll keep you updated, and you'll get the rest of the videos in this series. So thanks very much. Cheers guys. Bye bye.